Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Checkdown here on FTSN. I'm Bobby Finstock, joined always by Russ Morgan and Dave Stager. Stager is not with us tonight. He is doing some dad stuff, and that's okay because we got the one and only Finstanza joining us tonight. I'm so happy that he was able to get some time out of his busy schedule to come on with us. He is back in the loop. We had a cool show the other day, Extra Time, which I thought was great. That was really cool to do, to react to the Jalen Ramsey news. Usually on the check down for those who are new that are just tuning in, and as more people start to come on in, for someone like Finstanza who hasn't been with us, we talk about NFL news. We go around the league usually, but today's episode is a special episode. Today is the NFL mock draft episode, where just like on the clock on Sunday, we will go team by team and make a pick. This time, obviously, Coach and Wingate's not with us, so it's probably going to be different. I will say it was a very interesting mock draft on Sunday. I mean, and Jackson Dart at 2 to Curtis Work to Pittsburgh. I mean, it was a lot of going, whoa! So I am so intrigued to see how this would go down. Before we get into that, let's first start off and welcome the crew. Starting off with Russ. Russ, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, Bobby. Baseball's full swing. We got basketball playoffs. Got the draft next week. NHL. I'm not a huge NHL guy, but I'll watch it. I'll watch it for sure. It's interesting. So I mean, it's a great time. What is this, like the AFC East edition of the Checkdown today or something?
Yeah,
that's right. That's exactly what this is. That it should be. I should have, if I would have thought about that, if you would have said something beforehand, I probably would have created like a graphic for it. AFC East mock draft. Finstanza, Evan, my brother, how are you, man?
Honestly, on Wednesday night, I was a nervous Nelly. My Habs, talk about a rebuild. The Habs went to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2021 during the COVID year because they shouldn't have gone there, but the way it worked out, they did amazing in the playoffs, and they lost to Tampa Bay, but whatever. But they started their rebuild in 2021, 2022. The Dolphins started the rebuild back in 2019. This team is going to the playoffs. This team is doing something with themselves. They got to the rebuild 3 years. This team is actually giving me joy, while the other team is giving me misery. So luckily, they got into the playoffs. They did what they had to do, and I'm doing well. That's why I'm in a good mood. I get a break on the weekend. I get to be here with you. WrestleMania, Hall of Fame at 10 o'clock tonight. They're inducting some fun people. I'm very happy for the people that are getting inducted there. Anyone who's a wrestling fan on the network, I love it. Looking forward to WrestleMania. There are certain things that bother me about it, but we'll talk about that on No Holds Bar if I jump in at one point. But no, it's a nice weekend. I hope the Heat do well tonight against the Hawks. I'm sure Alex is a little nervous there. I'm sure you're a little nervous, Bobby. But no, happy to be here. Happy Easter to everybody. Passover's almost over. I can take a break from matzah. I'm looking forward to it. I think Bobby's frozen.
I don't know what's going on with my computer.
I love when the host
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with it. I saw it started blacking out, but hopefully I may have to just jump out and come back in. I will say, though, because what I'm about to do anyway will not matter with who's showing up on the faces right now. I'll come back in and you guys keep talking about it. But talking about, first off, this weekend, starting tomorrow, I got 2 shows on tomorrow. I got 2 shows on Sunday. Russ is being so kind and taking Sunday off for Easter, so I don't have 3 shows. But we got Vince Talk today, tomorrow at noon. We have WrestleMania Night 1 preview. Me and Josh Kimmel will preview Night 1 of WrestleMania. Then we'll go into Night 2 on Sunday. But in the morning, we'll do On the Clock, the draft show, where we will have our Miami Dolphins team mock. And then starting, of course, Thursday night, get this up on here, Thursday night, the start of the NFL draft, Pro Football Draft live coverage, sponsored by Caneswear here on FTSN, starting Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, Friday rounds 2 through 3, 7 p.m. Eastern, and then Saturday 4 through 7. We will be live the entire draft, and you will have the opportunity, as you watch with us, if you continue to watch throughout the draft, if you're participating in the comments, have the opportunity to win a Caneswear gift card. All 3 days we will have that option. So, Evan, I'm gonna leave it to you very quick, just to just to get Russ your opinion though on what's going on in Miami with Jalen Ramsey. And I'm gonna back out and come back in, but just go ahead and give me your thoughts after you heard what happened with Jalen Ramsey and the Dolphins agreeing on looking for a trade partner.
Dude, I was a little surprised, but I don't know what to make of it, honestly, Bobby. I was a little surprised. I was expecting the Tyreek Hill news before. For me, I haven't heard much of the Ramsey news. Maybe I don't follow the Dolphins news, even though
there's no news to know.
Right. Even though my Twitter is just flooded with Dolphins saying, because I follow 5 Dolphins fans on there, Bobby and Rob. So I just get all this Dolphin stuff. So I was a little taken aback. I didn't think they were wanting to go shop Ramsey. So I was expecting. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Finn? I mean,
when I talked about it on Tuesday, I have a feeling that when Ramsey joined the team, he had X there, and the team was going after a good first year with McDaniel. It was looking good. Then he joined his team, and they have a decent year, but then obviously the way that it ended with Buffalo, they have the chance to win the division. They lose 5 in a row again. I have a feeling he sees that he's the real dog. He probably likes Weaver, but he probably has seen what's happened in free agency so far, and he's looking Kader Kohu, Ashton Davis, Ifatu. Where's my secondary right now?
Where
linebackers are okay, but on defensive tackle, I lost Calais Campbell. Calais Campbell didn't want to come back. He was willing to go to Arizona. Sealer has nobody. I think that he's trying to save face a little bit, Greer, by saying it's a mutual thing, and I don't think he will. And I don't see he's a real. I think in the end, he's a religious man. I think that Jalen Ramsey is one of those people who doesn't want to make a stink like Tyreek would. He won't talk out of turn. But this is a Jalen Ramsey decision.
Is it a cap issue? Because I know Miami.
No, this will hurt them if they trade him.
Yeah, that's what
they're going to have a huge cap hit. They're going to have to figure out. So they're going to probably have to restructure a Sealer or restructure. Like the one thing that really bothered, I'm sure, me and Bobby and a lot of fans was that whenever Greer and McDaniel go to that podium, they asked a lot of great questions. They say really dumb things. Like when he says, "Oh, of course we want to win. We want to win more than you do to get us off your back. Get us off your back." And I go, "What? Did the general manager since 2016, a guy who's been with the franchise for 25 years, who's only won 1 playoff game, saying that he wants to win more than us?" I'm convinced the way he's acting, he has to, even though he's lying. Ross, he had something on Ross. Like I'm telling you this, I told Bobby this when I first joined the network. Greer will probably be there as long as he wants to be within the organization, as long as the Brian Flores lawsuit is around. Because I have a gut feeling that the minority thing for Ross, he does not want to shake that tree again. And he knows he's sort of stuck with Greer. And I don't think he just wants to I think he's afraid to fire him. I think he's afraid to fire him. But the guy is by far so blind. He knows that people hate him. Like as much as you guys have Jet stuff where you guys have had players or coaches that you guys are just despised in New York,
we got rid of one.
Chris Greer is, and Mike McDaniel's getting there. They're two of the most. I've never seen it before. Like, think about it. The Heat are struggling this year. They had the whole Jimmy Butler stuff. All that. Pat Riley doesn't get ripped the way that Greer does. I know because he's won. Spo doesn't get ripped when they're finishing only won 37 games this year because he's Spo. McDaniel and Greer have proven nothing, right? Paul Maurice in hockey is beloved because he's won. And he's a successful coach. That's the point. If you don't win, you don't get respect. So Ramsey won a Super Bowl, came to Miami, had X on the other side, and they see what they're doing with this team. They've lost 5 games in a row in the 2 years he's been here. Why would he want to be here?
I mean, I know Ramsey went to FSU, but is he a Miami, South Florida guy?
Not really. I don't think he's not dedicated to here.
No, but is he from South Florida?
No. He is from.
Type harder. As he looks that up.
He's from Tennessee. He's from Tennessee. He's from Smyrna. He's from Tennessee. Where's Smyrna in Tennessee, Bobby?
Not too far off from me. He's from here. He's from Tennessee.
Sorry. I put
Anyway,
myself on mute.
Bobby,
Here,
before
Bobby,
we
did I
start,
type loud enough? Bobby, am I typing loud enough?
I have a couple football related questions. All right.
Yeah.
You're rocking. It is college, but you're rocking the Miami Hurricanes. So I want your guys. What did you guys think? It's a two-parter of the Nico Iamaleava, basically, sitting out unless he doesn't get enough, more NIL. And then what do you guys think of Dan Lanning and Mario Cristobal calling Josh Heupel and telling him, hey, he's shopping himself to basically rat him out? What do you guys think of that?
Well, I did not know that second part, so that's interesting. Damn, no, I didn't know that they told that that he was shopping around. So I didn't know that. That's interesting, and that tells me that coaches seem to be banding together against the NIL. Me just very quick, just right here as he types away there, beating up on his laptop. It's just wait a minute as I'm talking. Give me a thumbs up when you stop typing. Well, I'll get you back in here. What did you say?
I didn't say anything.
You're being a pain. No. There's the post game show. No, but in regards of him shopping around and now looking for a transfer and trying to hold Tennessee hostage and now basically leaves Tennessee. I heard that he went into UCLA.
I've heard the UCLA. He's going to UCLA, but I've never really seen anything like.
I didn't see anything confirmed. I was told that he was going to
Cowherd. I'm like, Pete Thamel, please. Paul.
Yeah.
Fein, somebody.
See, this is the nature of the beast. I've never seen the transfer. I've never seen the transfer portal or this in regards of college football ever. Nobody has, and it's just crazy how many people are actually in the transfer portal. And I don't know what they're going to do, but they're going to have to do something in order to say, hey, it's not a 1-year deal. We're going to have to sign you for if to be a 2-year, unless you go to the pros. This will be a 2-year deal that you're committed. That you can't just say at the end of the season, I'm picking up and leaving. Because now Tennessee had a team where, even though they're losing a lot of good players into this draft, I mean, a lot of good ones, they were still pegged as one of the top teams in college football. But now, because of their quarterback, now you take him out, and now Tennessee's left with their hands, no
one.
They have no one. It sucks, but I do give Coach Heupel, the coach of Tennessee, I give him a lot of credit for standing his ground and saying, we're not going to do that. Either you play with us or you don't. And he left. And now he's not getting what he wants. I think he wants. And of course, they're going to blame.
He lose a lot of money.
He lost a lot of money.
And the amount of taxes in California, too.
Exactly. So you could get your 4 point whatever million or 5 point whatever million.
He got.
No, what I'm saying. They can say, okay, we'll give you 5.5, but you're not getting 5.5. You're going to get 2 because the taxes are going to eat up. And so he's going to be what you call he's going to be what do you call that? When somebody's basically, I don't want to say the scapegoat. He's going to be like the warning sign for players that want to jump ship after a year. But hey, because I don't know if I'm other players, if I'm in that shoes and I'm making $3 million or $2 million to play for this college, but no, man, I want 4.
I mean, he saw the Carson Beck deal. That's what he said.
And that's why, I know, Ryan Clark brought that up and whatever, bro. I mean, it's like, hey,
you could put him as the 7th and 9th best quarterback in the SEC.
Exactly. Carson Beck, you look at Carson Beck's numbers compared. Not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying.
No. Carson Beck had one very good year.
Absolutely. And again,
Nick Saban kind of warned us about this.
He did. That's what Saban didn't like about the pros. That's why when he went to the pros for a couple seasons, he left. From Miami, he didn't like it. He did not like the whole contract thing. He didn't like He wanted to go to college where you recruit, you keep kids, you build them up, you get them out. Now that's why I like the Bill Belichick's of the world. We'll see a lot more. I think you see Ron Rivera. Guys, dude, are NFL guys that have been in the league for years, and they just keep finding jobs. Now they're taking jobs in college football as general managers. Mike Lombardi went to North Carolina with Bill Belichick. Ron Rivera's now the GM of some team. Another coach is a GM of another team. because that's where this is going. It's just, here's the problem. It's ugly. It's not a perfect formula. And we're so used to college football being one way that now it's starting to be another way. And somehow, some way, they're going to have to come together and fix this, where it's like kids can't just pick up and go after a year. You sign a 2-year deal. Unless you want to pick up and leave and go to the draft, you're not leaving, or I don't know where you go with this, but they have to come up with something.
I mean, because you're already seeing it with the reason I love college football and a lot of people love college football is these kids are playing for, the love. There's loyalty to the school. And you still see that in college basketball. Now these kids are I'm just here for the money. Now, I see I can get more here. I'm going to go for that. And I'm not blaming him. Somebody gave him bad advice, I guess.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it is. I mean, and that sucks, but he'll be a cautionary tale. Unless he gets what he wants, he won't, I don't think, but he'll be a cautionary tale for prospects moving forward, players who may want to make that jump. We're going to move on to the mock draft, but before
to go from Neyland Stadium, which is
it's beautiful.
Temple.
Yeah.
And you're below the ground. You look up and it is massive. To Neyland, to the Rose Bowl, where they don't even sell out the Rose Bowl.
But that's my thing. Like, and you're beloved. You're automatically beloved by the fan base as soon as you play there.
They could stop, and people love.
Dude, it's packed. It's packed. I've been to one game, and it was crazy. It was against a very bad team, but it was like the owner of my company was giving away his tickets. He's like, whoever wants to go can go, and we drove the 3 hours to get there in the morning. It was awesome. We drove the 3 hours to get back. It was a pain to find parking, but we did. But it was such an experience, and the atmosphere. Nothing's you brought up hockey, Evan, earlier. But college football, going to a college football game and an actual college football stadium, that's a different beast. But Evan, before we get into the mock draft, we're going to get to it right now.
Until you come to watch a Habs game in Montreal, you have no idea.
Before we get into the mock draft, just your thoughts on that very quick, if you don't mind, if you have anything on it.
There's nothing specific. You guys really covered it because you guys know a little bit more. For me, the NIL is the same way with the one and done, and the NIL in basketball. Like, for example, when someone, just to give a little side note, when you look at March Madness, like someone goes to me, are you following March Madness? I go March Madness for me this year was the joke because you don't follow teams the same way anymore because you don't even know who's on most of these teams unless you really take your time. This year, the top teams, you know who the top teams are going to be. And like for me, like I mentioned this to you, Bobby, when I think college football has gone awry a little bit. We never talked about this on Tuesday night, and I'd love to get your opinions on this. Because it sort of relates to this team as well. Like we have amazing. I think Russ knows where I'm going. In our team, we took forever players who retired in the 50s and 60s to retire their jerseys. Okay, the Colorado Buffaloes, have won a national championship. Do you know how many other players? You know how many other players have had their jerseys retired?
I know where you're going. That was
0. How the heck does a team that won 1-8 in the Pac-10? 1-8 in the Pac-10. See, retire Travis Hunter and Joshua Sanders' jerseys. What did they do in college?
I think Travis Hunter has a very good.
Yeah, Travis Hunter. I think.
Yes,
yeah,
but they didn't win anything. That's basically saying that the Marlins have an amazing player in baseball. Look at the Dolphins.
I think it's more. It's a great point. I think it's more like.
The Dolphins have only 10 Hall of Famers, and you look at how many players. It's like think about this. That is blasphemy when you talk about it. Think about this, Bobby. We still look at this as a Dolphin fan. How are Duper and Clayton not in the Hall of Fame? It doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
But you're retiring these people's jerseys. Are you kidding me?
I think it's more about, especially with the Colorado. I think it's more about, just like in high school, they retire players' jerseys that didn't win in a state championship, but they do it anyway because they've gone on to do great things. I think they do it just to say that guy played for us. They're thinking Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter.
Jersey. Then you put a banner.
But it's Colorado.
They came out and said it was literally had to say it on ESPN every show. This was the athletic director's call because I'm like, yeah, Dion. I mean, like it would probably it was the athletic director's call, but you're telling me Dion didn't have a 99%. Could force.
I feel bad for Shiloh. Shiloh and Webster
I think Travis Hunter has a very good case. He won the Heisman. Had
100. Yes.
He helped out. He helped out the program.
Okay, I'll give you the equivalent. Someone said this is an interesting equivalent because we know this being Bobby. You're from South Florida. Tim Tebow was godlike at the University of Florida. Godlike, right? Didn't do it.
Yeah.
Didn't get his thing retired. Are you telling me that because Cam Ward had an amazing season, they should call him back after the season he had in Miami because they wouldn't have done nearly what they did without him? Come on, this is.
Well, I am. First off, I'm not a big fan of retiring numbers.
I think it's ridiculous. No, if someone's an icon, right? If someone's like an absolute icon, won championship. But think about this: they're retiring people's jerseys when there's a team that won a national championship, and they haven't recognized one player from that team.
Yeah, I get it. You know me. I'm already about. I'm not a big fan of retiring jerseys.
I'm not a fan of the NIL because the NIL, yes, it keeps people in college, but it actually, I think it makes the players when they finally come to the professional level cockier. They don't try as hard. I feel like yes, someone should be getting it in their name, but I don't love the whole transfer portal to go get more NIL money. It really bothers me because when you look back, when I was saying to somebody about like Duke, North Carolina. If someone's going to give you more to transfer and go get it, it's like having free agency every year in college sports. And for me, a big college is about education, about developing a program. How can you develop a real program when a quarterback's saying, I'm not happy? Like, I don't love the fact that Cam Ward, yes, he earned it.
What's up, Elwood? What's up, Anthony? Good to see you guys in here.
Went to 3 different universities in his college career. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Most college football players, most college players are going to play for more teams in their college career than they will in their professional career. That doesn't make sense.
But that's why I said, again, that's why I say they need to fix they have to fix it.
They'll figure it.
But we'll see how that goes.
There needs to be a middle ground.
All right. So let's get this ball rolling. We are going to use it.
I had to get that.
No, dude, don't. Please. I appreciate it.
No, it's great to bring up different topics.
Absolutely. So we're going to use we usually use the Pro Football Network simulator, which is awesome. But I thought today, let me pull this up. Forgive me, guys. I won't see the comments as we go, but we're going to use the Stick to the Model draft, which is sticktothemodel.com. It's a brand new simulator. The guy who created it has been promoting it on X and asking for people's opinions. It's very cool. I love that it's different. There's different players available at different times. It tells you the team needs. It gives you a recap at the end, kind of gives you some grades. So that's cool. So I wanted to try that out. I've been using it I use different simulators for Miami, but I also use Rumors, my own board, and things like that. So this is going to be interesting. We're going to do it different than what we did on OTC with Josh and Coach Vogel. We are going to do the same thing where we rotate picks. Evan will start off at number 1. I will start off at number 2. Russ 3. So Tennessee, Cleveland, New York, and then we'll keep going. And then Evan will, of course, get New England. Evan will have the Jets. The only pick Evan will not have officially would be the Miami pick. So because we're going to leave that to Russ, the Jets fan. Evan will make the Jets pick. Russ will make the Dolphins pick. So. And they give us an outsider's point of view. And he said he's done homework. He's been researching. I know he's been watching. But we will discuss every pick as we go on. So we will see this board here, but we're going to jump to the players page, and that will tell us that it's Tennessee's pick, and it will tell you the players available for that pick. And then we'll go to like 5, or like we'll do the first 3. And we'll just keep reviewing as we go on. Are you guys ready to go? Evan, you ready to make your pick?
Yes, I am.
All right, so go ahead and start that. So the Tennessee Titans on the board. I mean, there's a lot. We know who the 2 top guys are on most everybody's board, the top 3 or whatever you want to call it. But more than likely will go another route. And Evan, but you have this pick. Do you go that route, or do you go with one of the top guys on the board?
Pretty evident that Brian Callahan, an offensive-minded guy, hates Will Levis. right? The fact that he tells him what the F you're doing, he needs to solidify his foothold because you have a new GM there, but he's been given another shot. If he doesn't turn this team around, and where do you turn your team around? It starts at the quarterback position. Even though I think the star players, there are top players in this draft who you see on the draft board there. That's not where they're going to go. This is a quarterback league, no matter how much we want to say. Obviously, following the Hurricanes, similar to a lot of people who cheer for Miami teams, it's pretty evident that the flavor of the year this year was Cam Ward. And I think he has no choice but to go there, because I think that if he doesn't, I think the Tennessee Titan fans might rip him, just like in draft day where they didn't pick Bo Callahan. So I don't think he's going to make that mistake. He doesn't have a Brian Drew there. Will Levis is no Brian Drew. Mason Rudolph is gone. So, yeah, it's going to be Cam Ward, without a doubt. Like, that is a surefire number one pick for him.
There you go. So we now move on to the Cleveland Browns pick, and I have that pick. And I mean, really, it's a win-win for them. They, obviously they need a quarterback. They've admitted that Deshaun Watson was a mistake. And they are not, but they've also said, hey, they doesn't mean they're going to force their way into drafting a quarterback. Doesn't mean they won't do that with Shador, or Josh Wingate had predicted, or in the mock that he had Jackson Dart going there. I'm not going that route. I'm going between these two top guys, which is Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter. And I'm actually going to go with Abdul Carter here. Pairing Abdul Carter with Myles Garrett, I think, especially in an AFC North that's violent and physical, that's going to set you apart on your defense. Because I think what you can do if you're Cleveland, you go Abdul Carter here, pick him up, and then you could look to trade into the draft, whether through the 20s or the back end or in the teens. You're going to have to give up a lot, especially if you believe in someone, and maybe catch a falling Dart or a Milrow or whomever, and that could be your QB of the future. But right here, I'm going to go Abdul Carter at number 2 to go to Cleveland. So there you go. So we are now.
That was
go ahead,
Russ. I understand. Like I'm with you on that. Like I understand the Browns. Like, hey, we got Myles Garrett. We don't need this. I'm like, Abdul Carter is the best player in this draft, and I watch college football like it's religion. He was playing on one arm in the college football playoffs and wreaking havoc. So why wouldn't you pair him up with Myles Garrett and Abdul Carter? I mean, I know they don't have a quarterback, but I mean that would wreak havoc.
Joe Flacco's a quarterback.
Yeah, okay, a future. You're not saying he.
They need.
Yeah. You need.
But if Joe Flacco, whoever they bring in, does the job, if I'm them, the quarterback draft. I don't care who Shador Sanders or Jackson Dart. Like the fifth quarterback in next year's draft is better than Shador Sanders or Jackson Dart. Like the quarterback class of 2026, if they have an okay year, even if they have a mid-year, they could get a very good quarterback in the first round next year, no matter where they're picking. Because they're not making the playoffs with this roster.
No.
Right? So they're going to be in the top 10 probably again next year. So even if they finish below, so I have a feeling they're preparing themselves for next year. Like if they pick Shador this year, like it's not going to be good for him. I think Shador's going to want to be out. Well, Shador, I don't think Shador will be happy to be a Brown. I don't think he'd be like. I think he's one of those guys who say, "I want out of Cleveland."
Russ, all right, you got the Giants pick. A lot riding on them. Their jobs on the line. We're talking about Miami hot seat, but really the Giants are on the hot seat. GM and coach. They let Saquon Barkley go. He has a killer season in Philly. Should have been the MVP in my opinion. But they're sitting here at 3 overall. There's different. Obviously, you got Travis Hunter, Aston Genty. The quarterback position is a big question mark, even though they went Russell Wilson and they signed Jameis Winston. Where do you think they go here at number 3?
I mean, obviously you need a quarterback, and Dable and was Joe, whatever his name, and the GM, like their job's on the line. But I think we got the same opinion. I don't think Shador's a top 10 pick. If you take Shador and 15 below, okay, I could deal with that. I like Dart a little better. I think you have to go Travis Hunter in this position. I think you
him and Neighbors if they play offense.
I think you give him majority of defense and have about 10
Yes, I'm with you on that.
And put him there. But he is a hell of a corner. What he did
Dude,
at University of Colorado. I don't think. I mean, I get it. You need a quarterback, but I think if you put Hunter on that defense, which I was hoping Abdul Carter was there because that's would have been a home run, but you took that from me. But I think that would be. It has to be Travis Hunter, and you put him there with Neighbors, some on offense, and he'll be able to take a little off Neighbors too on the offensive players. But on defense, what he does, his instincts, his ball at cornerback.
You're hitting it right on the head, man. When I put on film, obviously I saw I saw bits and pieces of Colorado this year. Obviously I followed him. But I was like, man, where does he really rank when you just watch him? And when I put on the film and I watched him just as a corner, and then I watched some receiver plays because they have receiver film and they have defensive back film. I love him as a corner. Love him as a corner. He's ranked high as a receiver. He's a very good receiver, but as a corner, I mean, he is to me the number one corner on the board.
You don't see a lot of 6'2" corners with his length, with his instinct. 6'2" wide receivers are very, very
he's
common.
Smooth, man.
Put him on the offensive side. Is he a Justin Jefferson, or he's a good receiver? He's a very good receiver. He gets open, but at the NFL level, is a whole different beast.
He's a good receiver. He's a great defensive back, and obviously, and a team's going to use him in that way. I think, like 10 offensive plays, maybe 10 to 15, and then but he is a defensive back, and I would use him both ways. I would have him play offense and defense.
I think that's the appeal of taking him this high is having to be able to play both ways. But I mean,
and it's a ticket, right? That's blockbuster because people are going to want to come out and see Travis Hunter.
Some of the plays I saw him this year at Colorado, where it just looks like he might bat it down, and he just jumps the route and gets ridiculous. A pick. He's a very good defensive player. I know what he said. He's like, I want to play both ways, but I mean, I get it. He did it at Colorado, but you're going to be in the NFL.
So we're here out at New England. The New England Patriots on the board at 4. Man, we hate to say it. I'll hate to say it. I'll let you guys. Evan's going to take over here for this pick. But I hate to say it, but New England has had a very good offseason on paper, at least. I mean, they hire Mike Vrabel. The free agency has been a blast, and they're sitting here pretty at number 4 with a few good players on this board. That if for whatever reason, best case scenario for them, worst case for us is that if 2-3 quarterbacks fall off the board, like in this one here in the one we did on OTC, it was Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, Shedeur Sanders. That's the difference between this and that. But if that was to go down, that's worst case scenario for the Jets and the Dolphins and the Bills, because Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, one of those guys is going to New England. But that's not the case here, Evan. So you're sitting here at New England's pick. You've seen what they've done this offseason. You're sitting there with Coach Vrabel. Where do you go with this pick?
Okay, you might be surprised where I'm going, but I'm going to do it. But think about.
I like surprises, bro.
Okay, no, you may not be surprised, but I'm going to be a surprise. Mike Vrabel is a coach you and I have always wanted to dream to have for the Dolphins. Mike Vrabel is a defensive-minded guy.
Yes,
but this is a guy who was successful in Tennessee for one reason and one reason only.
He's going there.
He had
He's
the workhorse running back that guided him and was able to give Ryan Tannehill balance. Drake May, rookie quarterback, needs a bit of balance. This is a guy where you take
Damian
the best
Martinez
player on the board. Mike Vrabel is not just because Mike Vrabel is a defensive-minded coach. He is a smart head coach.
Yeah,
and he didn't play defense, or he did play defense, but he needs to have a bit of an offensive mind in that sense. It's Ashton Genty, because that guy will destroy the AFC East. That is the pick. If he doesn't take that pick, I think New England. It's not a need specifically for them, but he's the best player on the board, and that is a Mike Vrabel specialty. His success on offense for Tennessee for those 6 years he was there plus was Derrick frickin' Henry. So Ashton Genty is going off the board at 4.
There you go. All right, so now we are at the Jacksonville pick.
And I'll be crying, Bobby. He's my favorite player in the draft. I don't care.
I know he is.
He's more than Travis Hunter. That is my dream running back. That is my dream running back. My dream running back. Oh my God. He's Derrick Henry, but he's a little smaller. But he's Derrick freaking Henry to me.
He's a lot smaller, Evan.
He's a lot smaller. But I'll tell you though. Let me just say, can I just tell you? You know how much I love Genty. He was, I rooted for him as the Heisman Trophy. I think him and Saquon, had killer years. But I will say there are some really good running backs in this draft.
I know
that, what I'm saying? I mean, you think, and you talk early, Marion Hampton out of North Carolina, Henderson out of Ohio State. But you think of later, I joked about Martinez, but Martinez, Ollie Gordon, there's other guys that can help fill that, as complimentary backs. But I understand where you're coming from. I'm just saying.
You see a Bijan Robinson, you see a Jahmyr Gibbs, you see what some of these backs, the last couple backs taken in the first round. Like the Lions would not be the same team. Montgomery's a great guy. Jahmyr Gibbs is better. You need
a true back.
Bijan Robinson, trust me. Today, Michael Penix will have a great year next year because he has Bijan Robinson behind him. I'm telling you. Drake May's dream is to have – that's what Tua's been missing. I'm telling you, in Miami, we'll get there. He doesn't have – Achane is not that kind of back. Achane is a gadget player who can play running back, but he's not that kind of back who can really benefit the play action. You need that. I think the biggest problem with the Jets this year was the fact they didn't utilize Breece Hall the way they should have. That's where their biggest problem was.
So here I got the Jacksonville pick, and obviously it says here their number one need is corner. And you could go Will Johnson, who was a superstar corner in Michigan, and he's highly rated. He's my third ranked corner in college football, and he could very well go here. But I know that I've been hearing a lot about his injury history and how that might slip him up. I don't think he falls too far, but I'm not going to go corner here. I'm going to go with offensive line, and I actually, like I tell you guys, when I do mocks, I read, research, look at off needs. And what I've been seeing is that a lot of people are calling, the insiders are saying, is that they're really high on Calvin Banks over Will Campbell. And Banks, he could play interior, but he could also play outside. I know a lot of people pegged him for Miami, but I don't think he'll get there. So I'm going to go Calvin Banks with this pick because that helps them obviously secure up their offensive line and protect Trevor Lawrence, who's coming off a major injury. So we move on to Vegas, and Russ, that's you, man. What do you got Vegas doing?
Well, I mean, they need cornerback. Evan took my pick. I got two guys both took the picks. I was slotting right off the bat. I thought they'd go Genty. I think they go Genty if he falls to.
I'm with you. I think Genty is. Yeah.
I think he'll be there at 6. So, I mean, I think they'll be there at 6, but in this circumstance, he's not. So, I mean, they need a cornerback, running back, wide receiver, safety, D-tackle, safety D-tackle. I think you go Mason Graham from Michigan, who is just a wrecker in the middle right there. But the Genty, I was like, that's a Marshawn Lynch thing. But I think, if you get Mason Graham, that's not really oh, shit, damn, we missed our guy. That's a hell of a pick. That guy's going to stuff the middle for 10 years.
Yeah, it's a good what do you call, I don't want to say like consolation prize. You came away with Mason Graham. That's not a bad deal at all. We're at the Jets pick now, and Russ is the Jets fan, but Russ will not make that pick. He requested it. He's like, hey, I don't want to make this pick. I want you guys to make this pick, and Evan will have the honor to make this pick. I will say the pick that I did have this pick in OTC on Sunday. So I'm going to let Evan pick, and then I'll say who I picked for them at this point. But Evan, you're the Jets. I know it makes you throw up a little bit in your mouth, but if you had to do if you're running the Jets and you have to make the best decision for the Jets, where do you go with this pick?
For me, it's pretty easy, and I'm going to do this in a very positive way for the Jets. You have Justin Fields, who needs time to basically run the ball. You've solidified one side of the offensive side of the ball in Fashanu. The best offensive tackle for me on the board is Armand Membu, and that's where you need to have a good right tackle who can finish blocks. He has nimble feet. I think he's the right fit that is going to solidify, give Breece Hall, give Justin Fields, give the Jets a really solid – I'll put it this way. I'll be envious of the Jets tackle situation compared to the Dolphins if they end up with Membu. Like I would give you Patrick Paul and I would give you Austin Jackson on silver platter. Give me one of these two if Fashanu and Membu. It's Armand Membu for me.
There you go. Russ, your reaction.
I mean, I think there's 2 or 3 ways the Jets can go here. It's maybe I've heard trading Brees Hall and taking Genty, but I don't think he'll make it to 7. I've heard they love Tyler Warren, which I love Tyler Warren too. I watched a lot of Penn State football. He's the best player on the field. I think that'd be great because minus the guys in the backfield with Brees Hall and Brendan Allen, they don't have much. And that wise, you have Garrett Wilson and Alan Lazar and Malachi Corley. So there's not much on that side. So I would be fine with Warren, but Membu, if you throw him on the right side, and we all saw what Fashanu did when he was playing, was one of the best tackles in the league. I think it would be – I've said it here before, and I'll say it again. It's not a sexy pick.
No.
Nobody wants it, but offensive tackle most of the time is the right pick, or offensive guard, whatever you take. I mean, 2 of our best recent picks minus the 2022 draft was Nick Mangle and DeBrickashaw Ferguson, and they anchored our offensive line for 10 years plus. So, I mean, I think that was a great pick from Evan, and you know, I know he hated it, and I'm going to hate doing the Dolphins pick, but I appreciate
it's the right pick for it's the right pick for you guys. Honestly, like if the way Justin Fields plays, the way that you have the kind of quarterback where you need to solidify your tackle position, especially on the right side. You have your blind side. But he likes to go play. He's a very, very unpredictable quarterback. He needs time to establish the run because he's going to run a lot for you. And I believe, if Brees Hall's still there, you need to have those tackles and to have 2. You basically have 10-year starters in Fashanu and Membu on both sides.
I mean, it'll be I won't
anchors. They're anchors.
I won't complain because our offensive line, year before last, we had about like almost 30 different offensive line combinations. So finally, maybe now they have a little thing. I know Bobby. I like Will Campbell a lot. I've been falling in love with Membu, so I really like that pick. I thought that was really good.
I told you I wouldn't screw you.
Yeah, I did go Will Campbell with the Jets pick on Sunday.
I just like Membu a little bit better. I don't know why.
Yeah, I know a lot of people do.
I don't love the. Honestly, I like tackles from like not as well known schools. Mizzou's a great school, but I don't love going into the SEC. Like I like some of the picks from different schools. And I think it's
the SEC. Both the SEC.
Yeah, but Mizzou is not as
traditional.
Yeah. Like the same way where you go tight end, you go Iowa, right? Like I like Mizzou.
All right, so Evan with the Jets goes Membu out of Missouri to the Jets for Russ Morgan's team there, and now we move on to the Carolina Panthers, who are on the board. And where did this pick go last time? Let's see. Okay, so it's a tough one there, but we went D-line there, but I think they could go edge rusher. I think they regret trading. I forget. Brian Burns. Thank you, Brian Burns. I think they're regretting trading Brian Burns. So I think they're going to go edge rusher here, and I'm going to even though Jalen Walker is the 8th best one on here. I'm going to go Mykel Williams with this pick. Mykel Williams going to the Carolina Panthers. I know a lot of teams are high on this guy. And so I'm going Mykel Williams to the Carolina Panthers. So we go on to the Saints, and that is.
I mean, University of Georgia. I mean, I know the Falcons will hate that because I've heard they want Mykel Williams too. I mean, University of Georgia has been there for 3 years. I mean, you can't really go wrong with the Georgia defender. I think that was pretty good.
So you're next, man. You got New Orleans here. And man, it's kind of it's a good best case scenario with edge rusher, receiver, tackle, quarterback, corner. Where are you going here?
I mean, I think this New Orleans, you went Mykel Williams. I'm doing my own here just to help myself out too.
You're good, man.
I know right away who I'd pick.
I know where I'm going. I would go with it, but
So I mean, you need a guard, wide receiver, cornerback. I know they probably want Shador.
No, they don't.
But I don't think they should go Shador. I think you should give Spencer Rattler a year, let him go,
Okay.
especially. And I'm going Will Johnson from the University of Michigan.
Ooh, okay. All right. So they go with the corner, the defensive back, Will Johnson, who comes off the board. I know some Miami fans will be upset about that, as there's a lot of fans who are banging the table for Will Johnson, the fall to Miami, especially with the news with Jalen Ramsey, and you're not sure about Cam Smith. But I think that's an intriguing pick, and I think it's a smart pick. Again, though, obviously there's injury concerns, but he is, if healthy, he's a stud, man. He's a stud. He's shown it in college football at the biggest stage. He's done it all, and so he could be a big time impact player day one for the Saints at 10. So we move on to Chicago, and that's me. And
was it you? Oh yeah, because you changed the
yes, you had the Jets. Yeah. See, you're doing your thing. You're talking. You just listen, pay attention. Anyway,
it was the order. It confused me. In
yeah.
Canada, we don't count. In Canada, we don't count past the.
Anywho, this is a pick.
It's easy. It's so easy.
Okay, well, you don't have it, so quiet. This is not the Evan mock draft show, so let's careful there.
I know.
I'm just messing with you.
I know.
Anyway,
my brother-in-law and my cousin are very obsessed.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I would not be surprised if they go running back with this pick. This is where you might be surprised if they go running back. Amarian Hampton is flying up boards. Henderson is a guy you think it could go up there, but Hampton, I think, is the more likely one. But I'm not going that here. I think the board has fallen in a very good favor for the Chicago Bears. And, again, when you think of quarterback, you think of QB's best friends, you got the tight end sitting there, but you also have offensive line. And, they got some questions. They went there. They got a couple picks there, but I think if he's sitting there, it's hard to pass this up. I'm going to go Will Campbell with this pick. Going to go Will Campbell. You got to protect Caleb Williams. You got to make sure he has a line where you feel safe having him. I got to actually click it here. But that's where I'm going. I'm going Will Campbell to Chicago on this pick, Evan.
You're exactly
where would you go with that pick?
Will Campbell, with the amount of money they spent on the guards and with their left tackle, I don't think it's in the final year of his contract, they need a Will Campbell to protect.
Darnell Wright hasn't really worked out. I think that's a solid pick.
Yeah. All right. So San Francisco, Evan, that is you.
Okay. You're going to hate me, Bobby. You're going to hate me. Don't hate me, okay, buddy?
Okay.
Don't have to hate me because I'm not focusing on what the Dolphins should do here, okay?
Yeah, no, you shouldn't. You're going pick by pick.
Because I think they go off the board here a little bit versus what the top players are here. And I think they with Robert Saleh back there, I think they try to do something on the defensive side of the ball. I think they may have gone to Will Johnson there. But I think they're going to go – they need to replace Tre'Davious Ward. And they're going to take Bobby's favorite player in the first round, and his name is Jahdae Barron. I think they're going to go back. Byron is flying up this board, and if they see Will Johnson going, this guy is going to be snapped. Because you want to know what? The San Francisco 49ers and the Miami Dolphins have a bit of the same mentality, and I honestly think they need a corner to replace Tre'Davious Ward, and I believe they're going to go get Jahdae Barron.
So, yeah, that is horrible. No, it's for me, right? Because I love him. No, I know you do. I'm not saying that. I think you're right in the regards of he is flying up, and I am concerned he will not be there at Miami's pick. And I know a lot of people who love Will Johnson, and I do too. I'm cool with Will Johnson if he's the guy. But if you're telling me between Jahdae Barron and Will Johnson, I'm going Jahdae Barron. I love Jahdae Barron's tape. He has so much versatility. He plays outside. I actually had it today. Let me find it very quick so I can just
so good. Yes,
because I know a lot of people. You're like, oh, I'm not sold on him. Oh, I know, 13 is, it's not, I don't. It's too high. It's this, is that. No, it's not.
He's a stud.
He is a.
Let me just say. So, Where's this at? I had this
And it's the
on
kind
here.
of thing the 49ers would do.
I sent it to Tati.
They don't
I sent
look.
this to Tati on Twitter. She's like, "Why are you sending this to me in a message?" Because I was like, "I just need to write a note and I need to make sure I save it." And so I just sent it to her in a message. Just it's all this stuff on Jedi Baron that I was, but obviously versatility. But 893. He played mainly outside last year. In last season, he played mostly outside at corner, but 893 snaps at the slot throughout his career, 760 snaps on the outs as an outside corner covering the number one guy, 475 snaps as the box safety, and 51 snaps from the deep safety alignment. This guy could play press, zone, making him he fits. Dude, he's just ridiculous. And let me bring up this here in 3 years. But last year, let's just stick to last year. Last year, played 971 snaps, 541 coverage snaps, 37 receptions off 68 targets, was 54.4 completion percentage, only allowed 284 yards all season, 0 touchdowns allowed, and 5 INTs. That's just in 2024. It baffles me. It surprises me that there are people that in the Dolphins Twitterverse and the content creatorverse that are like, dude, I don't know. Are you kidding me? This kid is a stud. This kid is everything you need. I had him there even before Jalen Ramsey's news, and it's even more dire now. And I'm just praying that he's there at 13. And I just know, though, knowing Miami, they're not going to go that route anyway. Even if he is there, they're going to go with some rando. But yes, Evan, that would suck. But there's still some very good players on this board, and Russ is making that pick in just a minute for Miami. So we'll see where he goes. Maybe you maybe you messed him up, but maybe you didn't.
And by the way, because he's not 6 feet. Because he's not 6 feet tall. People are going to take the.
That's the stupidest.
I know, but that's what
you know what? But here's my thing, because I've heard that. Oh, we need it. Look, Jalen Ramsey 6'1" and whatever. We need a guy like that. We drafted a guy like that who's 6'1" and something 2 years ago, and he hasn't. And exactly. So guess what Cam Smith is going to have to do?
For him.
I know, but right? It didn't Chris Greer kind of? And I'm sorry, Russ. But I just want to say. Didn't Chris Greer state that? Didn't he say, hey, we're not going to hold your hand anymore. Now's the time for you to step up. Guess what? To everyone else who needs a 6'1" corner, that is Cam Smith. If you really want a tall corner, that's your guy. And guess what? It's Miami, and Chris Greer better hope it works. But that's not good. That doesn't make a great corner his height. The dude has done it all. And he was amazing last year. And he would be a freaking A+ pick for the Miami Dolphins if he's there and Miami actually makes the pick. But we wait and see. I will say, if he's not there, there's still some very good corners on this board for Miami. Not maybe not 13. They could still go there. There's guys there, but in 48, whatever, you still come away with some guys. I haven't, I kind of double dipped in my mock, to be honest with you. So I got a double dip, but Cheryl Revel.
You double dip the chip. You dip the chip.
Don't double dip the chip.
I don't double dip chips.
There are some guys still on the board that, I would hate if to miss out on Jahdae Barron, which is just this is typical life for a Dolphins fan. But there are still guys on there that Miami came away as a corner, but that's a solid pick. But they might go a guy who's like the 5th corner on the board and just take him because that's just how they do it. But anyway, we're at the Dallas pick, and Evan made this pick, so I'm next, and then Russ, right? Yes. So Dallas Cowboys. This is an interesting pick, and damn.
I know
where are we go? Okay. I know. I know I'm going with this. I'll tell you though. On Sunday, Travion Henderson went there from Ohio State to Dallas in that mock. And that included. It wasn't Josh Wingate who made that pick. It was I think it was Coach. So
makes weird picks.
But he is going up boards. I don't think he's going that high. I think if Hampton's still on the board here, I think Hampton could be considered for this pick. Hampton's a very good player. I know Miami loves him, but I'm going to go. I'm thinking about, somebody needs to be a tag team partner with CeeDee Lamb.
There you go.
And I think it's all about star power. I think Dallas is somebody who jumps on players that fall. And I think they go Matthew Gold. I'm just kidding. No, they're going Tate McMillan here.
Matt, by the way,
pick. I know Golden would be a great pick. Don't get me wrong. Golden's
in Texas. It's the Texas
Tetaroa McMillan. I'm a University of Arizona guy, so I mean I've watched this guy a lot.
McMillan's the pick. McMillan is the pick. So, and I think that's great. And I think it is what it is. Evan, of course, would be Evan would be like, God dang, on that draft night. But
I would trade Tyreek Hill on the spot for Tate McMillan.
Actually, there was a trade. There was a trade scenario that I saw that I was like, I don't hate that. I mean, the cap is going to suck. The cap will suck, but the trade pick was not bad. It was a second round pick with something for Tyreek. I know. But we're sitting here now, Miami. This would be Evan's pick in this scenario, but we switched this up. So it's a start with Russ. I'm again, then Russ again, then Evan's back in it. So Evan gets a little bit of a break. Russ, you're on the board. You got Miami's pick. You are a Jets fan. God help us all. Where do you think Miami goes with this pick?
Well, first off, I'm gonna be back in like 5 minutes to let the clock run out. So, and then this one's for Bobby. I think they, I think they go. Bobby, this is for you. I think they go Alex Mastromano from Florida State because they won so much there in Tallahassee. No,
he had that there the whole time, just looking at that guy, trying to figure out how to say his name.
Bobby, I'll put it to you this way: I hate the board. This is where Miami is.
I mean, I think
this is Miami. By the way, before he makes his pick, if this is Miami, I'm trading back. I think way Miami back.
As either they trade up, and if I would trade up, if I was Miami, I'd go for Mason Graham, especially losing Calais Campbell. In that scenario, but we're not trading up here. You took in my opinion, I know it would have been a little different if Tetaroa McMillan was at 13. Mm-hmm. I would take Tetaroa McMillan. I know it's not a need, but with all the baby shit that Tyreek pulls, get rid of him and put him there.
I like the Jets fan a little bit more tonight.
Honestly,
it's a bad board.
I'd be pissed. And I know it's not a need for Miami, but I'd go Tyler Warren.
Yeah,
there it is.
And I would be super pissed. I would not be happy as a Jets fan. I hate this pick, but I would go Tyler Warren, and you would have what's your tight ends? I can't remember who had
Jonnu
Smith and Tyler Warren on each side. That would be nasty. So that's the pick I would go with. I would either go if McMillan was there, I'd go Tetaroa, but if Tyler Warren falls to 13, either trade down because I bet you Indianapolis wants Tyler Warren.
Yep, they do.
Or you just take him and you say, okay, this is the best offensive player on the board. And
Evan,
there's no offensive tackle there. The cornerback, Revel or Morrison from East Carolina.
Yeah.
Notre Dame aren't going to be first-round picks. That'd be a huge reach. So you just go with that best offensive player on the board.
I think that's fair, man. I think it's fair. I think it was a great explanation. I know a lot of Dolphin fans who would love that pick, to be real with you. I mean, they probably, some may go, oh, we should, grab an offensive lineman, but you're reaching at that point. So, but I
Omar
think
Kelly is on that. People are saying the offensive lineman thing are drinking the Omar Kelly stupidity of taking freaking Tyler Booker. Honestly, you left the room when we heard Cam Smith instead of Darnell Washington last 2 years ago. If they picked a guard at 13, I'm getting on the plane and I am finding Chris Greer, and I don't know what I would do. Like I literally, if they took a guard at 13, I would throw up. I throw up live.
I'll chime in on the clock because I like to talk shit to Bobby, but Bobby knows it's just all good fun here. I like to talk shit.
You're all good, brother.
It back to me, but I mean, like, if Kelvin Banks or Will Campbell somehow make it to 13, I don't think. I mean, like, I know you guys go elsewhere. You can't be mad at that pick either.
But they won't take it because they have Austin Jackson and they have Patrick Paul. He's not.
Well, Will Campbell. I will say this. I I won't say I would be mad. Like I said, I know what my preference is.
Yeah.
Like, if you come away with a Will Campbell or Calvin Banks,
Thanks,
those are guys that could play. You could plug in them, either one of them at guard, put them at guard. Then you could, and if Patrick Paul doesn't work out, you got a guy who could plug right in at tackle. Call yourself. My thing is that I would still go, like, if it's Will Campbell, Jahdae Barron, whoever else you want to call there, I'm going Jahdae Barron. Because I think you could get yourself like a Tate Ratledge or Dylan Fairchild or a 7A out of Arizona, or one of those guys at 48 or 98 or whatever, and you're still going to do okay. I wouldn't go, oh my God, at the end of the world at 13. If they did that, I would, but if they were to pass on one of those guys, I'm bringing up the other guys we talked about, I would feel a certain kind of way, but I would know that, hey, these guys could be quality players in Calvin Banks and Will Campbell,
or Membu. Those are the only three.
Or Membu too. But these are guys I'm talking. But what's good about them, even though I'm like, dude, I'm not on the 13 all offensive line day. But if you did get one of those guys, you do have a guy. You have guys now that could, you plug them in at guard, or you can push them at tackle. So that's where I understand the logic. But I'm still all about, like, no, I'd rather go 48, 98 offensive line. I think, again, you come away 98. If Miami goes corner, D tackle, let's just say, and then you like a 98, and you're like, man, they haven't addressed the offensive line. Oh, crap, they got Tate Ratledge, or they got Dylan Fairchild at 98. I'm not mad. I'm ecstatic.
As a guy who hates the Dolphins, but as a fan that's not going to give us, they're still good tackles. I mean,
absolutely.
Mimbow will be a 3rd round pick. Emory Jones, Cam Williams, who was a hell of a
Cam Williams out of Texas. Yep.
Very injury prone. You could get guys in the 3rd that maybe have more risk, but could still be good starters in the NFL. Where you're going to reach, what was it, Simmons from Ohio State?
I'll be right back. You guys keep talking.
From Oregon, I mean, it would be a hell of a reach.
Yeah, it would be. So just to give you, because I'm sure Bobby was about to ask me what I think about that pick. Yeah, the Tyler Warren is the best player on the board. I think he would even be better than Jonnu Smith. I think even if you take a Tyler Warren, you could actually still have the ability to get rid of one of your wide receivers. You could get rid of Tyreek Hill because you could still go with more tight end sets. You still have Malik Washington, you still have Taj Washington, who didn't play last year. You can go do something. You have Nick Westbrook or Keeney. Like, it would be great. The only thing I don't love about taking Tyler Warren is the fact that I don't think McDaniel is smart enough on how to use them. And I believe that Anthony Weaver deserves a proper defender at corner or at safety in the 1st round. I don't think that Mike McDaniel has earned the 1st round pick. Like, the 1st round pick has to be a defensive player or trade back. But I would love Tyler Warren on our team. I just don't trust our head coach to utilize him properly because he doesn't utilize any of his offensive weapons properly. So why would I want to, like, I don't think, like I said, he doesn't deserve.
I think and I've said it, and Steger always gives me, like, he'll be shaking his head. Tyler Warren is a better overall tight end prospect than Brock Bowers. He is a complete tight end. Brock Bowers is a hell of a receiving tight end. But Tyler Warren can receive, and he blocks too. So, I mean, that's kind of like on a Jets fan looking at that pick. If you take Warren, I'm like, okay, yeah, we need a tackle. But Tyler Warren he's an inline guy. So it's not like you're losing the blocking aspect either. Same thing if it was the Jets and Miami, he still will be able there and block and hold his own. And then he can go out there and make plays.
But I love Tyler Warren.
So we're at the Indy pick. We're at the Indianapolis pick here. I have that one. And then, Russ, you go again. And then, Evan, you get back on track. So, Indy here, again, they had a chance to get Tyler Warren. Does not happen. I think, obviously, Colston Loveland is sitting there. You could still go that route. And he's a very good tight end as well. We see the slide happening with Shedeur Sanders. Obviously, that's not where they're going to go. The trade calls start to creep in here. Maybe, just maybe. But I think they will go because they need help at defensive back. And a guy that I would not mind, I don't care how our safety position looks, a guy that I really like that I wouldn't mind for Miami if that was the pick, is Nick Amenrari. He's my number one safety. I like him a lot, but he's still available here, and I think that will be the pick for Indianapolis if this is how the draft would play out. So that is where I'm going to roll. Atlanta now is on the board, and that is Russ Morgan. And Russ, you take control. What happens with Atlanta?
Well, I mean, I feel there's a couple ways to go. You need a linebacker, Walker from Georgia. You need an edge. I'm not as high on Shamir Stewart. I don't like his production at Texas A&M. I don't think he did enough. I know he's a freak of an athlete. I'm not as high on him, and I'm probably wrong, but that's my opinion. I think they go Malachi Starks from Georgia.
There you go, Malachi Starks. So 2 safeties in a row there. Malachi, let's go here. Perfect. All right, we're in Arizona. Evan, you are back on the clock with the Arizona Cardinals pick.
They do a lot of different things with their offensive tackle position and their guard position, where they've moved around Paris Johnson, they moved around Jonah Williams. They like to have versatility on their offensive side of the ball. So I think they go I think they go on the offensive side of the ball again, and I believe they are going to take Josh Simmons out of Ohio State.
There you go. So they go tackle here and go Josh Simmons.
Because I think they can play around. They did this with, like I said, they did because Russ wasn't there. They played around with Jonah Williams. They played around with Paris Johnson. They moved them around. They tried. So I think they can do. I think Josh Simmons is a real Swiss Army knife piece they can utilize on that line. Like they all have a good line. Like don't sleep on him. Like everyone thinks, oh, Calais Campbell went to Arizona because that's where he played before. With Marvin Harrison Jr., with Caleb Williams, what's his name? Kyler Murray's no slouch. Jonathan Gannon just really getting into himself there. It's a fun play. I've been to a Cardinals game. It's a fun place, indoor stadium to play in. They're a fun team. They're young and up and coming. Honestly, they can make noise in the West. They can make noise in the West.
Yeah, I think, and I will say, if McMillan is on this board, even Matthew Golden's still on this board, I would not be surprised if Arizona went that route. But I get what you're saying, and I think it's a good pick. For Cincinnati, obviously.
Kids, bedtime.
Let's wait it out there. Wait for a minute there. As
10 minutes.
10 more minutes here. We're on the clock at 10 more minutes before the show ends.
I was on mute.
No, you were not.
I know, I was on mute.
Do you think we read? You think we read lips?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah.
Really?
Your mic is. I think your mic is not connected, homeboy.
Of course.
Kids, bedtime. 10 more minutes.
My thing is on red.
Look. Hey, you're. That's like a scary movie, right? The daughter's like, oh shit.
Oh,
go to bed. 10 more minutes. Just playing.
Now you're on mute.
Now you're on it. You probably just spoke. Okay, so Cincinnati here. You know, there's a lot of talk about the big money deals they gave to their receivers, obviously their quarterback, but who they're going to lose possibly if they don't work out a deal, and that's their edge rusher, Trey Hendrickson. So they got to figure that out here. They got to get an insurance policy. And they got some very good edge rushers still on the board. And let me make sure. Man, I'm gonna go Shamir Stewart with this pick because he's still on the board. They need an edge rusher. I'm gonna go with Shamir Stewart. I was going between James Pierce. I think Mike Green could still be an option, but I think with Stewart on the board, it's hard to pass him up at that point in time. So, Russ, you got Seattle, man. Where did they go here?
Got Seattle. Well, Seattle can go a couple ways. You still have Green for Marshall on the board. I think it's a reach for tackle. Guard. You could go guard, but I think Seattle ends up losing DK Metcalf. I think they go receiver with Matthew Golden.
There you go. I like it. Tampa Bay on the board. Evan, what do you got?
Oh, that's Tampa Bay's on the board?
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What do they need? Because my buddy's teams have to be, you know, I think they are salivating
Oh,
when they see this
salivating.
draft. They see this draft board, and I think they only go one direction and one direction only, and they need an edge rusher, and they go Jalen Walker. They see Jalen Walker sitting there. They are running. Todd Bowles is running. Like he's knocking over his GM. He's going, Jalen Walker's still there. Go get him right now. If Jalen Walker is sitting there for Tampa Bay and Todd Bowles, is he going to be like licking his chops?
So the Broncos now on the board. That's my pick, and obviously they hit on their quarterback. He was very impressive last year. Bo Nix. Shout out to Josh Wingate, who was like on that bandwagon all off season the year before and talking about him, and he did really well. They need running back with this pick.
Oh, here he goes.
I'm going Hampton.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Marion Hampton with this pick. They're going to add to that offense, and my goodness, Denver is going to be a fun team to watch. But this is an interesting pick. We're at the Pittsburgh Steelers, and my gosh, where do we go here? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
That is you.
By the way,
And what have I been saying since we started the check down? Where is Shedeur Sanders going to go? He's going to Pittsburgh. We all know the Rodgers stuff.
He's going to retire.
He'll probably end up retiring. Thank God the Jets flew him out to New Jersey to tell him in 15 minutes we're going to go a different way. But my opinion, I won't express my real opinion why I think he gets to Pittsburgh, but I think he ends up in Pittsburgh. And I think they take Shedeur Sanders.
There you go. All right. So, Evan, you're on the clock with the Chargers.
This won't take long. But just to make a note about was not the Pittsburgh pick. What was the pick we were going to do? No, that's my train of thought. Oh, my God. Hampton? Can you imagine if Bill Belichick still had a Marion Hampton in North Carolina?
Oh, my gosh.
Could you imagine it? I'm surprised he did not convince him, give him more NIL money. Come stay, please.
Was he a senior? What was he?
He's a junior.
Oh, so he could have played another year.
He could have played another year with Bill Belichick.
All right.
Okay,
so
this is an easy pick. This is an easy pick.
I think
you remember Justin Herbert when he first started. He had Hunter Henry in his first year, and that was probably his best year of his career. If you're Jim Harbaugh, you're basically saying, "Wait, there's a Michigan guy sitting there."
Yep,
that's right.
Or what? Colston Loveland is a safety valve for that kid. That for Justin Herbert. You want Justin Herbert to have a rebound year because he didn't have the best year last year. He wide receivers are still young and Quentin and all that. Colton Loveland is a good safety valve for Justin Herbert.
There you go,
man.
There you go.
He's
all right.
Some of these teams are salivating for what they need.
With this pick with Green Bay, I'm caught between two positions, and between corner and receiver. And let me just throw the corner names because I think, first of all, Siobhan Revel, I know he had injury issues, but I do think that he's going to be a very good player, and I could see him going towards the end of the first, but in the second, realistically, early second, and I think he'll be a very good player for whoever gets him. But there's two receivers on this board that I can't think that Green Bay would pass up on. And I will say, I know I'm a fan of Luther Burden out of Missouri. I like him a lot. I do. He plays bigger than what he is. He's a quarterback's best friend. And he's soft hands, reliable hands. But I also know that Emeka Agbuka is a favorite of Dave Stager's, if I remember correctly, Russ. And he's a quality weapon. I know a lot of teams love this guy, so that's where I'm going. I'm going with Agbuka. Hopefully, I know I'm butchering it, but Evan will figure out how to say it and get me on it. Evan will be like halfway through the season, Agbuka. Like, okay, I get it. Damn, But anyway, we're now at the Minnesota Vikings pick. Evan, where do they go? I'm sorry. Russ. I'm sorry, Russ.
By the way, before you go, you know who's going to be pissed about with that pick? Aaron Rodgers just go, wait, they still haven't picked a receiver in the first round in my entire career, and now they're finally going to give Jordan Love a first round. Because not even Watson was a first round.
I think it's if you're going receiver, I'd go Ibuka over Luther Burden.
Okay.
I think that's a good pick, and I mean, I wanted you to just mess it all up for Steger, just because he's been slamming the table for Ibuka. But that's probably a safe pick. Ohio State receivers seem to pan out recently very good. But on the Minnesota pick, obviously their safeties are getting kind of older, but it's too early for a safety. I mean, unless you want to go Xavier Watts, but I think it's too early for him. I think he's a great safety, but not a first-round guy. Maybe he sneaks up.
He could sneak up, man. I
think
so.
I mean, no running back, even though they have Aaron Jones. You could go Tyler Booker from Alabama, but I think they're very happy with the way this board. And you go Mike Green from the Marshall Thundering Herd. We are Marshall.
There you go. Now, Evan, you're on the clock. Houston.
We are Texans. Where do the Texans go? Let me just take a quick look at something.
Remember, I traded Laramie Tunzel. They need offensive line, which is crazy. Defensive line. So this board actually is not too bad for where it's at for them. But where do you think they go, man?
I think they go off the board a little bit.
Okay.
And I think because also he's been one of those guys who's been linked to Miami. And I think he's a player who's been in mock drafts in the first round. And I think people have this association with Jackson Powers, Johnson last year and all that. And I think people just see this North Dakota breeding ground of offensive linemen. And I think they go for Gray Zabel.
There you go, Gray Zabel. It was crazy because, a lot of people had it early on in the process. It was third round, fourth round. He's flew up the draft boards.
Boom.
Yeah, man. And hey, you know what? Shout out to him for taking advantage of the offseason, the Senior Bowl, and really pumping it in. You know what? I think he's gonna be a very good player. LA Rams are on the clock. LA Rams, where did they go in that one? Yeah. I was thinking about being a little crazy with this pick, but I'm not. I'm not gonna. Well, shoot, because they need a linebacker. You got one right there, Shaheed Campbell. I get it, but third quarterback's going to come off the board here. They're going to get their QB of the future, and that's going to be Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart going to the LA Rams to back up Matt Stafford and eventually be that replacement.
What do you say to Jimmy G?
What about Jimmy G? What's he supposed to be?
So basically, Jackson Dart's a 3 next year.
He's a QB of the future.
He's
where's Jimmy G going to be the year after?
I think Matthew Stafford will be there for 2 more years. At least 2 more years.
So QB of the future, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's been teasing about retiring in the last 2 years. You got to get your QB. It doesn't
I think
matter.
that's the right pick.
When Jalen Ramsey is back at cornerback for the Rams this season, he ain't retiring anytime soon. They're bringing back the band. And by the way, did you see I don't know if you guys follow. Did you see what's his name? Aaron Donald was lifting like 200-pound weights like they were sponges. The guy literally could come back tomorrow and be the best defensive player in football.
100%.
He could. What were you saying, Russ? I'm sorry. What were you saying about the Rams pick?
I think that's the right pick. I think you got to play for the future. I think McVay knows how to utilize quarterbacks.
He won't do it.
I think that's the right pick. I mean, you could go you don't need a D tackle. You got the 2 guys. I mean, I think that's the right pick because Matthew Stafford's getting a little older in the tooth. He's great still, but he's getting older. And we've all seen, unless your name's Tom Brady, he starts in a little bit.
Well, he gets hurt. Okay, we get our veteran. We have a veteran backup. He comes in. Okay, let's say he sucks ass. Okay, hey, we got our QB of the future, Jackson Dart. Throw him in there.
I think it's a great pick too. Be Jackson Dart, very good, most yards in NCAA this year, and you can stick him behind Matthew Stafford and Jimmy G
Yep.
with Sean McVay as your coach and your
Yep.
offensive coordinator, and he can learn because he needs to learn an NFL offensive system because they ran spread with Lane Kiffin. They don't run an NFL system. He doesn't go under center. He doesn't. I mean, they run a spread system in Oxford, so he
There you
needs that. So give him a year to learn under those guys, and we all see what Sean McVay does. The guy's a quarterback whisperer. Probably what Miami thought they had in Mike McDaniel is, I mean, the guy knows how to get the most out of his players.
True.
That's a solid pick.
There you go.
And not like I'm sure Miami's like, hey, we're gonna get the next like McDaniel, the next young offensive genius.
Next McVay, it didn't work. Yeah, it hasn't worked out so far.
The only one who's really worked out has been McVay.
All right, we're at Baltimore, and Russ, that's you, man.
This is
where
easy.
Where did you go, Bobby? Oh, you went dart.
I went dart.
So I'm pretty stupid right now.
We've just been talking to him for the last 5 minutes. No, it's all right. But
I think there's a handful of ways Baltimore can go. I mean, you could go Booker. I think you can go. I think Booker or Campbell, but I'm going to go a little different. I've seen that offense. I mean, you have Isaiah Likely. You might still have Mark Andrews. The receivers, not Rashid Rice. I always can Flowers. I don't think there's a two guy, so I'm going Luther Burden from University of Missouri.
I like it. Different.
I think they need another wide receiver on that other side.
There you go. Detroit. Evan. I think this one. I'll tell you. I'm gonna let you make the pick, but I'm gonna tell you what I'll tell you.
I know what they're doing. They lost a guy by the name of Kevin Zeitler. That guy, they don't have a replacement for him yet. This is where Omar Kelly becomes a Detroit Lions fan because they take his pick of Tyler Booker.
All right. So I think that's a very good pick. And I think you hit the nail on the head because I was going to say they're going to pick a player that Miami fans love because they always do, right? So I'll tell you though, Tyler Booker is a great pick. I think the next one that's a big candidate there is Kenneth Grant. I think Kenneth Grant could be a pick there as well. I could see Kenneth Grant going to Detroit,
but they have.
I know what they have, but that's a But I like it. I like it. Washington. My goodness, the Washington Commanders. What a year last year. What they've done this offseason. Opportunity just to keep getting better. Let me take a look at what we got on the board. You know what? I just said his name. I'm not going to play around. Let's just do it. Kenneth Grant. Put him on that D line. I know James Pierce is still there, and I think that's a damn good pick. But Kenneth Grant is a guy that he could go. I've seen him go in the top 10. I've seen him go in the top of the second round, whatever. But I think this is a safe spot for him. And I think he goes to the Washington Commanders. So Buffalo Bills, Russ, you got this pick, man. What are they doing?
Yeah, all right. We got Buffalo here. I think if you're the Bills, you got only two selections if it pans out like this. And that's Derek Harmon, who's a wrecker. He wrecked at University of Oregon, and that defense was really solid. Or you go Jaheed Campbell. I'm going Harmon from Oregon.
Okay. There you go. Kansas City. Evan?
They're weird.
Yeah, they are.
They're weird, but honestly, they lost a lot on that line.
They did.
Can you go to OT for me, please? Just to confirm my pick. I think they go off the board because that's what they do. And I'm going to butcher his name, but I think they need to solidify this. So they're going to go with Ariante El Alseri. I can't pronounce his name, but
I think Urzuri.
Golden Gopher. They lost so many players on that line. That line was a mess in the Super Bowl. He's the kind of player I see. Andy Reid doesn't care. They have Patrick Mahomes. They have Travis Kelce. They need to solidify that line now. It's a problem again. If you think about their 2 Super Bowl losses, what stands out, even though was their offensive line. Mm-hmm. They need to go get offensive linemen, and that's a player.
So to wrap this up, as I try to watch the final score there, the final minutes of the Heat game, and
what's the score?
I don't know what it is. Yeah, I just know my son's been screaming, and so it was 103-102 a minute ago. So don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. It's okay.
I'm not going to.
But I'll see your reaction. You can't hide your face. I'm gonna go here with James Pierce. I think that slide ends. I think they go James Pierce, and they get their edge rush help there and roll. I think they could go into your offensive line, but I think I'm gonna go with James Pierce. If it works, there it is. Bam. So there you go. Let's take a look at the grades that were given. I think that's the best case scenario here. So if I could get up closer here, Cam Ward went number 1 to the Tennessee Titans, B- there. Abdul Carter to the Browns, a B. Travis Hunter to the Giants, that's an A+. Genty to the Patriots, that's a C. Calvin Banks, an F to Jacksonville. Mason Graham, an A to the Raiders. Membo to the Jets, that's an A+.
See, Chris? You see what I did for you?
Michael Williams to the Panthers, that's a B-, right? Yes. Will Johnson to the Saints, that is a C-. Will Campbell, an A+ to the Bears. Jahdae Barron, a D to the Niners. McMillan to the Cowboys, that's an A+. Tyler Warren, an A to Miami. Nick Amenrari, the safety, that's a D. Malachi Starks, a D to the Atlanta Falcons. Josh Simmons, a C to the Arizona Cardinals. Shamar Stewart to the Bengals, A+. Matthew Golden, an A. Jalen Walker, an A+ to the Bucks. Amarian Hampton, a C+ to the Broncos. Shedora Sanders, A+ Pittsburgh pick. A+ for the Chargers, Colston Loveland. A B+ to Emeka Okpukpa to the Green Bay Packers. Mike Green is a C+. A C+ for Gray Zabel to Houston. Jackson Dart is a C+ to the Rams. Luther Burden is a C to the Ravens. Tyler Booker, an A- to the Lions. Commanders taking Kenneth Grant, that's an A+. Derek Harmon, an A+ to the Bills. Sarari, a D, is a B-, to the Chiefs. And then wrapping it up, James Pierce, edge rusher to the Philadelphia Eagles as an A+. So there you go. And
Bobby,
I mean, Evan, that was pretty solid. Both D's on, pretty honest. That was pretty solid for two guys who hate each other.
Oh, Bobby.
All right, so I tell you, don't spoil it. I told you don't spoil it.
I didn't say a word.
You've said 2 words. Oi, Bobby. Oi, Bobby.
Oi, Bobby.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. To me, it's a win-win. It's a win-win because if they lost, they get a lottery pick. If they won, they get in the playoffs. So I'm.
How about this? If they win the game, they will beat Cleveland.
Thank you. See, that's why I got to wrap this up. See, now you got me intrigued. Tell him. I saw the private chat pop up, and now I just looked at it again. It's like you tell him to. It's like, oh, go Russ. Everybody, All right.
I will tell you this, Spo. Like I always told you, I would take Spo tomorrow to coach the Dolphins. I would in a heartbeat over McDaniel.
I would take Pat Riley to run the Dolphins.
No, but I'm telling you, what
I know. He is a great coach. But I'm gonna
McDaniel. What was he thinking?
We're at an hour and 30. We usually go about an hour here. Sometimes we were a little, but we usually go an hour. But it was a great show. No, it wasn't you because we were going to do this anyway. We talked 30 minutes before the draft. But anyway, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in or who's going to watch afterwards. I appreciate you guys. If you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Tell us who you would have picked at 13. if you were Miami or any of these other picks, the Jets pick and go and so forth, and how you may have done it differently. Why don't you in the comments as too, you could post your draft on there, and if Russ or myself or Evan pop in and look at the comments, we could react as we get along. Tomorrow I will be back on here at 12 p.m. Eastern time, noon, with Fish Tank Hank for Fin's Talk today. And then we'll be on in the afternoon.
Should I be on standby? Should I be on standby? Isn't
Possibly.
he moving? Isn't he moving today?
I don't know what's going on. We'll see.
He won't find his internet. He won't have Wi-Fi.
But yes, be on standby. Just
we'll be on standby.
WrestleMania pre-show at 5 o'clock Eastern, and then Sunday on Easter, I'll be on for the draft talk, and then that will be at 11 o'clock Eastern in the morning. We'll do our Dolphins mock draft picks. Tomorrow I'll give my top 5 preferred draft picks for Miami, and then Sunday afternoon I have No Holds Barred again for WrestleMania Night 2, and then I'll be off for the night and to be able to celebrate Easter. Thank you, Russ. But anywho, guys, we appreciate you all. Thank you all so much. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next Friday. Well, we'll see you on the draft night Friday. Next Friday. There's no check down. It's the draft.
See me tomorrow.
We'll see you then. Well, you definitely see me tomorrow.